Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you present here and taking your weekend to join us for today. So, today's session, we are talking more about times, right? We all love them, we all fear from them, we all avoid, but we can't avoid them, right? So, that's why we are here to know about why this relationship matters. And today we are going to go to cut down all through the drama and we're going to actually figure out how to manage these clients without losing our sanity. So, this session is called Managing Clients Effectively, Practical Strategies for Architects to Communicate, Connect, and Collaborate. For anyone who is new to Insight, let me give a quick introduction to myself. I am Reeti, and we are on a mission to build the next gen social web for architects industry. Here, you will not find any cat videos or any political rants, but you will get just a solid community specifically for architects and elite professionals. And speaking of community, you have to join our architect circle on WhatsApp. So it's where we post all the latest jobs, internships, events, basically all the good stuff. And I'll be dropping the link in the chat shortly. So there you will also get this session recording and there we have a Q&A group where you can ask the questions from our speakers and you can have tell us about your journey as well. So for today, we have got the perfect guide for us. Please give a huge round of applause for Diwakar Chintala, who is a principal architect at Studio Chintala. And he's here to share real stories from his practice, strategies for setting expectations, handling curveballs, and building the kind of trust that keeps client coming back long after the project is done. Hello, Diwakar, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. And who is steering today's conversation is none other than Saumya, who is the co-founder of Insight and Illumina of SPA Delhi. She's an architect herself, and she'll be the voice today. And we will open the stage for conversations and questions towards the end. So raise your digital hands to ask your questions, or don't be shy. You can drop your questions in the chat box. All right, Saumya, let's take it away.
Thank you, Riti, for setting the stage. Hi, Diwakar. How are you doing?
Good, Soumya. How are you? Thanks, Riti, by the way. Yeah. Good, Soumya.
Nice. You're joining from your office at Bangalore?
Yes, I'm in the office. We are off today, but we have a few people working on deadlines as always. So yeah. Yeah.
Architect's life. I can understand that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining in. I think more people will keep on joining. What I'll do is I'll start from, simpler questions first so that we have time for the difficult ones towards the end. And I'll try to keep my questions short because we've had a lot of questions. I was actually surprised to see these many questions on the Google form. We have almost about 24 questions from attendees.
Wow.
And what I'll do is I'll open the stage afterwards for everyone to just, speak up and ask the questions directly so that they can interact with you. All right, Diwakar?
Sure.
All right, guys.
And Soumya, how much time
Yes.
is this entire thing? How much do we keep it to? How much time?
We generally keep it for 1 hour, Diwakar. I understand, if you'll have to rush out for any meeting or anything.
That's okay. Yeah, 1 hour is fine. Yeah. Okay, no problem.
All right, then. Okay, all right. So I'll start with the basic question, right? How do I find the right client, right? So I mean, for bigger firms, all the systems are set. Today, I'm here to ask you all about your about your systems, your frameworks, what you use to stay away from the red flag clients.
Okay, so that's where we start. Fine. I mean, I guess that's one of the hardest questions, actually. You said you're going to save the hard ones for the last. But see, I think, I know I'm supposed to give you very succinct and nice, because we got a lot of young architects here. So, and I'll do my best. But, fundamentally, I think we've learned a lot. We've been around. I keep saying this, I'm not a great businessman. In fact, I'm probably the wrong type of personality to be running a business. So in many ways, I've figured out that I'll do what I know best, and I'll kind of deal with the ones I don't know very well. So fundamentally, I think we need to look at why we become victims of quote unquote red flags, or why do we fall into the trap. I think we're all, especially as a young architect, we're trying to establish ourselves, get a foothold in the market, and we are very excitable. I think the most important part is, as architects, we get excited. We get excited because we love what we do. I think, unlike other professions, I mean, I don't want to say other professionals are not excited, but I think the idea of building a house, building an office, is so exciting, and that's part of what is great about this profession. But that's also part of the problem, because that excitement makes you do stupid things. But where do you draw the line? It's a gamble, and I think later on in the conversation we can talk about why people even why are there so many instances of clients not paying. I think, why are there so many red flags in this profession? I think that's something we can discuss in a little bit. But I think ultimately it comes down to experience. I think we want to do the project. We know that the signs are not right. We see some red flags, but we're
So what are those red flags that you see?
I think, if somebody really truly respects you as a professional, I think you should see all the right signs, right? I mean, they treat you well, they respect your work, they give you your due, and meetings happen on time and all of that, right? And of course, most importantly, they pay you on time. I mean, the very first red flag, and I think I've said this in the past to you, is, and all architects do this. We don't do this by ourselves alone. You start your engagement with an engagement fee, right? Some sort of an advance fee. And, there are architects who say, okay, put the money on the table, then we'll talk, right? Of course, that's far from reality in a practice like ours, or most practices in India. I'm sure there are architects in India that are able to say that. We don't. I don't know if we can or we can't. I don't know if our reputation's strong enough where we can say that, but we don't. It's just not the Indian way, I guess, or not just doesn't sound like that's the only driver. But if somebody is reluctant to pay you,
that's the first sign.
That's the first sign. I mean, there's no question, right? Because that means that, of course, there are architects there are clients who are shopping around. Of course, there are clients who say, can you do me a sketch and then we'll talk. Some clients are very open. They say, I'm talking to 4 different architects. I want you to give me a sketch and, or a concept, and then we'll see. Now, is that a red flag? I guess. Why would you want to do anything for free? But at the same time, you're optimist. You feel like, oh my God, I do such good work. I'm sure I'll get it. Because you're struggling. You're looking for your next project. You really, really want to build your practice. So you're gullible. And that's part of what people take advantage of. And, in no practice, you can't go to a doctor and say, can you give me the diagnosis, and I'm going to 3 other doctors. Let me see what, how I feel about you. Can't do that. I mean, it's a long story. We've talked about this, I think, all over the world. I lived and worked in the States for 21 years. It's not any different there. I have friends who are still struggling,
So Diwakar, is there a set of questions that we as young architects can ask our client upfront, so that, we can identify if we are the right fit for each other or not?
Yeah, I think just the basics, right? Basics, very honest conversation. I think a lot of times we get caught up in like, will I be exposing myself? I think it's okay to be honest and say, look, I'm a young architect. I have given up everything, and I'm building this practice. So my engagement with you needs to make meaning to me. Yes, I really appreciate the opportunity to build this thing for you and design this thing for you. But please understand that I also have the financial realities of anybody else. I have to
Yeah.
And so, can we please understand? And I totally respect the fact that you are shopping around, or you want to get a sense of how we work. Uh, you want to feel comfortable with us. All that is totally understood. So I think it's better to keep all of that on the table. I think, for us now in our practice, I think we've learned a lot through mistakes, right? We've had a lot of not so great experiences in the beginning. I think as you become serious in your practice, I think a lot of people shy away from you, people who are
Mm.
not serious. But
Yeah.
in the beginning, we're all, everybody has aspirations to build something. Everybody is a builder. Everybody wants to build the next Taj Mahal. So everybody's got aspirations. Everybody dreams, and they come to you. But do they really have the
Mm.
resources? Do they really have the intent? And so, yeah, I think those are red flags. I think, but like any relationship, you have to start with a very open mind, open attitude. Now, the
Mm.
other thing I'll tell you is, at the end of the day, after all that, you're still vulnerable. You're ultimately at the mercy of, you can do all your things right, and still, they sometimes they pay you the first fee very well. We've had we've had a client who took us to Singapore.
Mm.
Why? Because it's a nice place to sit and have a conversation. So the whole team got on a plane, and
Yeah.
and so then you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is ridiculous. This guy is like, you know, and then we do a whole bunch of work,
Mm.
night and day, no sleep, toothbrushes in the office, waking up and brushing your teeth in the office, all those things. And then because the first payment came on time,
Yeah.
and not only that, your second meeting is in a hotel
Yeah.
in
You.
Singapore,
Yeah,
and
that happens. I mean, that happens with all of us, I guess.
yeah,
At least it happens with me. The clients who pay well are the ones on priority, of course.
right. So,
Yeah.
so I think the ultimate truth is, yes, you can have a candid conversation. I think people do
Mm.
respond to openness. I think clients have their limitations. They also have their challenges. They're also unsure about you, right? I mean, part of then nobody wakes up in the morning thinking I'm going to cheat this architect. I don't think so. I think they're also confused. They're also not sure if they're doing the right thing. Are they selecting the
Mm.
right architect?
Sometimes I've seen not many people, I'm not only talking about architects, but many professionals not being able to communicate their work well. What value are you providing to the client?
I think
I
that
think
is
it starts from there.
absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. I've been analyzing this for decades now, right? I'm thinking why. See, they're they all the clients are perfectly nice people.
Yeah.
They pay taxes, they raise great kids, they go to the temple, and they're all honest and all that. So why is it that when it comes to paying an architect's fee,
Mm.
they feel like they can pay you less or not pay you a
Yeah.
one payment or whatever? I think I broke some ground because I think they think we're overpriced. I think,
Mm.
an architect says all these fancy things, concepts, and
Yeah.
form follows function, and
Jargon. I have been talking about this for so long.
yeah,
Stay away from
and
jargon.
you say all those things, and ultimately, what do you give them? You give them like that many drawings, right?
Yeah.
It's a set of drawings, and they go, um, wow, for 10 lakhs, I'm getting 42
Mm.
drawings and 42 black and white drawings. So they don't see the value of all the nights you stayed up, all the arguments you had in the studio, all the models you built, all the options you dismissed, all the SketchUp models you made, all the renders you made, all the debates you had, all the research you've done, all the case studies you've done, all the hours you spent looking at standards and code and all that. They don't see all that. So I
Mm.
think for them, what they see is a bunch of drawings. Now, they don't have a problem paying a contractor because the contractor's built a wall, and you can
Mm.
go bang your head on the wall and your head will break, right? Because
Mm.
that's like there. It's tangible, you can feel it, and you're like, okay, he's built a wall, I have to pay him for the wall. But architects just say a bunch of funny words, and then they give you a bunch of drawings and say,
Mm.
can you give me my fee? And they feel like, really, are you
Mm.
really, do you really deserve so much money for this few
Mm.
drawings? So I think as architects, we need to communicate the process better. So I always, I mean, I would love for a client to come and be part of our brainstorming. I always say it would be
Yeah.
great because then you'll see what goes into a project. One
Mm.
small project has a ridiculous number of uh, people working, different input, different strategies, and all those things. So I think when if they saw that, they would probably be less averse to paying you, but
Mm.
they don't. And I think that's where the fundamental problem is. They don't see all the work that goes in, and they don't
Mm.
feel very compelled. I have this, I want to make this cartoon, right, where the client and his wife are in bed at night and they're having a chat before they go to sleep, and the wife is telling the husband, honey, I'm so proud of you. You didn't fall into the trap of that architect and pay him. Now he's like, yeah, thank God I didn't get tricked by them. I think clients think of us as
Mm.
overpriced, sometimes almost out there to, dupe them or take their money. I think we need to do a better job of explaining what goes
Mm.
into
Right.
designing a building. Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah. And how do you understand what clients actually need? Because they say something that they think that they need this, but the reality is different. So how do you decode that?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. And I think that's one of the things we do well. Um, See, one of the prerequisites we always tell clients, we take big projects, small projects, we'll do a business card, we'll do a high rise tower. We don't discriminate project typology, size, scale, budget. All we say is the only thing we say is, can you please engage with us? Can you
Mm.
please tell us what you want? And of course, that's easier said than done. Uh, but I think the questions that you ask are going to be very important. I think if you just say, ask clients, what are your, requirements? What's your program? Uh, that won't be enough, right? That never be enough. You have to, I think, go beyond that. So we ask questions like, for example, clients say, can you give me a beautiful facade? Okay, hold on. What is beauty for you, right? What
Mm.
is it? Oh, I want a grand facade. Okay, can you elaborate what grand means to you? Well, look, I spent all my life, I've worked hard, I've arrived, I've earned money. I want my house to show the world that I've arrived. Okay, good. Now we are talking. So what is it that you want to show? I want to show that, I've made it. Okay, what is your idea of making it? What is your, do you think scale is
Okay.
important? Do you want a big house? Do you want a shiny house? Do you want a bling house? And then they say, okay, I want marble on my facade, lots of marble. Why? Because marble shows that opulence, and it also shows that this person has arrived. So we ask a lot of uncomfortable. Sometimes people don't like to tell you that, right? Because sometimes they haven't even asked themselves those questions. Uh,
Mm.
we say, look, you're trying to tell the world that you have a lot of money. Is that what you want? I guess, but don't you think your value system is much more important, and isn't there other ways to show your
Mm.
grandeur? So we convinced a client, for example, not to put too many materials on the facade, but to do a facade that is magnificent in scale and proportions and large, nice floor to ceiling, but very simple in its manifestation and expression. So we said, look, and the client understood it and totally agreed and is thrilled, because you're still grand, but not in a way where it's misplaced, not in a way where it's not sophisticated. So I think that's our part. That's
Mm.
where we bring the intellectual discussion to the table. And so we always ask, what is your motivation? You want 3 bedrooms? Why? Oh,
Mm.
because we may have a child later. Great. Um, but do you think we can? That's 4 years down the road. Do you think we can design a space that can be made into a bedroom later? So
Mm.
those are the kind of conversations, and people love to talk. It's just that you need to make them talk. They will tell you their aspirations. I don't think many clients hide it from. So I think where we succeeded uh, thus far, and I don't want to say we've succeeded in that sense of the word, but where we've had success, fair amount of success, is trying to understand what the client wants by asking a lot of questions, by giving them a lot of opportunity, by probing. Not just saying, okay, I want Pinterest, like, clients come with Pinterest, like, okay, all right, fine. We all have access to Pinterest. You like this facade, but why? What is it? Well, I like the arch, but what is it? Is it the softness of the arch? Oh, interesting. I didn't think about an arch being soft. Well, it is. It has also got a historic reference. Maybe that too. So you want to get to that. That is part of our job. I think you can't be an architect without being a good listener, good conversationist. You need to engage. And then once you understand why they want an arch, or why, then you understand, oh, they're looking for softness, they're looking for historic reference, they're looking for nostalgia. Maybe the house they grew up in had arches, blah blah blah. Now you know what they want from a fundamental value system. Now you can design, and now you can do a variety of things, and they're still happy. They're still happy because you're still hitting their fundamental needs and values, right? You may not even do an arch because that was their idea of an arch. And now you probe through, and you actually force them to think beyond um, the sensibility of an arch and actually gone to the root of it. And now they feel like, oh, and they discover. So it's a discovery phrase. They actually discover things about themselves sometimes, which is really interesting. And that's why those bonds matter, right? Now they're like, oh my God, this guy's on my side. We're all on it together. We are not at odds. But if you just go, see a bunch of Pinterest images, or they bring you and say, I like that one. But why? Because you'll never, I think you'll struggle even as a designer, forget about as a business, as a practice, to even deliver what they want, because you're constantly trying to respond to something they're showing you, but you want to go beyond that. You want to understand why is it that they like what they're telling you. So
Mm. So do you have like a agreement where you have a proper scope of work and where you decide everything before? Because I keep seeing that I have seen design changes happening when the contractor is on site. So how do you prevent that mismanagement?
I don't think, Soumya, you can prevent it. But see, the truth is, yes, we do write in our proposal. Our proposal is very detailed. Um, we write a very detailed scope of work sometimes, depending on the kind of client. Sometimes clients ask us to write a very detailed scope, right? Sometimes we just outline all our services. We don't go to the extent of saying, okay, we will get 2 options, 3 options. In fact,
Yeah,
to
that
be
I know. Yeah.
to be honest, I don't believe we would want to be the kind of practice. Ultimately, we will not stop until you're happy, right?
Hmm.
So that's given. That's a given. We are in this business to make you happy. We are here to deliver the goods. We are here to enable your dreams to come true. So there's no question about, no compromise about, saying, okay, I did 2 options. That's it. That's not. It's not going to
Hmm.
work. But I think you need. Again, it goes back to understanding the clients better, deeper, in a more profound, fundamental way, so that you're not beating around the bush. That's what I think it all comes down to. So I mean, we find very few clients who say, okay, we're actually lucky where most of the times, our first option or second option is approved.
Maybe because you go into detail
Yeah,
before that, before
because
designing.
yeah, we do what we call visioning, right? First
Yeah.
session, we lock the doors of a meeting room or a Zoom call, and we say, okay, we need 3 hours of your time, and we ask like some ridiculous questions, like how was your childhood sometimes, and what was your first experience of your first house? What did you
Hmm.
like about it? What did you not like about it? What do you want your guests to feel when they come to your house? What is your daily schedule? When do you wake up? Do you go for a walk, and where do you drink your coffee? And so we have a whole, for if it's a house, we have like a whole visioning session where we try and ask, and we tell them beforehand, we apologize profusely, saying we're going to ask you some questions that may sound ridiculous and maybe irrelevant, and please excuse us. But this is important to us. So I think ultimately it's about trying to understand them, and then your chances of not hitting the mark are reduced. That's
Hmm.
not to say you're always hitting bullseye. We struggle sometimes, but I think for the most part, getting a clear understanding, it also builds that relationship. It
Yeah.
builds, it makes them feel like, wow, this person really wants to give me a good product, and he
Mm.
or she is asking me all these questions. So it's kind of a really fundamental part of the process. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark, and you do something because they've told you something, and they're like, no, 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 that's not it. And then you do something else, and they're like, not quite that. And because they haven't told you what they want, you haven't understood what they want, and you forever are going to be doing options, and they'll be like, why should I pay this guy when he's not even coming close to what I want?
I want,
You know, I,
yes.
it's like you go for a haircut, and if you get a bad haircut, you're like, why should I pay? I got a bad haircut. So you need
Mm.
to understand that aspect, right? You're working hard, no question. You're working night and day. You're like making models, you're building this, you're doing renders, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. But for them, they see value when they go, that's what my house should look like. Wow, I love you. I want to pay you. you know, I mean, so that's
Right.
part of the problem. Part of the problem is getting there, understanding them, their brief. I mean, they'll give you a brief which may mean anything, may not mean anything, but you really need to go beyond that. You really need to understand. I think that's the first step to everything.
And I have faced difficulties myself with documentation. I am currently working with a lot of material companies right now, right? And most of them are not very good with documentation. And I believe many clients also, at least for, young architects, when, you're working on residential clients, you are talking to a, 50 plus type of couple, might not be very interested in documenting everything. But documentation is very important for us as architects to maintain, that we are, yes, going in the correct direction. So how do we find the balance there?
Yeah, I mean, it depends again, the type of client, right? If it's a house and it's an elderly couple, like you said, and they're not that sophisticated into, again, I mean that in a way where they're not into documentation, they're not into paperwork and putting things on paper or an email or WhatsApp or whatever. It's a little bit of a challenge. But I think, I mean, we found I mean, of course, depends. When we do large corporate clients, we always, or even not, I think we've got into a habit of doing meeting minutes.
Hmm.
And like, for example, when we do the visioning, which is our first step, which is this, workshop we do with the client, we publish a visioning document after that.
Okay.
Like we say, it comes out 3 days after we finished it. So we assimilate everything. We actually take pictures. If it's a Zoom call, we take screenshots of them talking. So it's a very nice document that comes out and says, one of the sections says, here is what you told us. Here is what we understood. Here is what, the pictures
Hmm,
we
that's
showed
quite
you.
interesting. Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then we say, so this is what we're arriving at, and these are the design guidelines we formulated from this conversation and this whole interaction, this engagement we've had for the last 1 month, where we saw pictures, we went out and saw the site, you talked to us about your family, your hobbies and all of that. Here is where we are, and this is what it means for the design of this project. So we put this succinct um, design guidelines or the Bible, and we publish it, and we actually print it and bind it and give it
Oh,
to the client and say the visioning document. Um,
that's amazing.
and it's like we actually give you like
Yeah.
nicely printed 4,000 rupee book, whatever it takes, and we go. This is when they see themselves and all that. So there's a proper, and of course, before we do that, we actually send a draft and say, this is what we're publishing. Do you have any
Mm.
more comments? And they go, yeah, you missed that one point we discussed, or can you also add what my CFO said about accounting department being close to finance or whatever. And we go, yeah, 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 sure. We forgot that point. So we make sure we circulate the draft. Everybody gets a chance to, um, you know, put their 2 cents, and then we publish that document. And we call.
Diwakar, would it be too rude to ask you for, one page of that document that you create so that everyone can have a look at it and they can, use it later for reference in their own
Sure,
practices?
we can share that. Obviously not right now, but yeah, I can share that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll share that with everyone after the meeting.
Yeah, sure. I can share the contents or something which gives you all the sections. Yeah.
Yeah, just 1 page or 2 pages to identify what you're talking about.
Sure,
It
sure, sure.
would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a nice way to build consensus. Of course, there's WhatsApp, there's email,
Mm.
there's ways to document information, even though the client may not actively sign on them or respond to them, but everybody responds to WhatsApp. And the other thing we do, I think we've found great success with WhatsApp. We're constantly engaging. Yeah, our teams will every day write in the client's group saying, today I'm doing the elevation south side window detailing. And clients go, why are they telling me this? And I'm like, just ignore it. It's okay. But so every day in the morning, if you're working on a project, you're
Mhm.
expected to write. And the guys writing get irritated because they're like, why am I doing this? Am I reporting to the client? This is so like, am I like, no, you just write what you're going to do today, what your thoughts are in the morning. So every day we write in the client group, you know, Ashok is doing this or Megha is doing this, whatever, whoever is, they'll say, today I'm working on flooring pattern. Today
Mm.
I'm doing this. Today I'm talking to vendors about furniture. And sometimes they keep saying the same thing. And the client sometimes tell us, she's talking to the vendors for 3 days. And I go, that's how long it takes. That's how long it takes to actually get the prices right or the design right. And every day she does the same thing. Yeah, because it takes so long, my friend. It does take a long time to do these things. So I think that was actually our strategy to show the client that there's a lot of effort that goes in. Some things don't just happen because you saw an elevation with 14 lines. It doesn't mean it took 14 minutes, right? Uh,
Yeah.
it took 14 days to get to there. So that's
There's also kind of a project update system for the client to not keep bothering the project supervisor that, what's happening with my project? What are you guys doing?
absolutely, absolutely. And of course, if it's a larger team, it's valuable because now we're talking about consultants, we're talking about vendors, we're talking about procurement teams. Everything is transparent, everything is real time. And I don't think we are the only ones that are doing this. I'm sure everybody is doing it in to some degree, but I think transparency is key. I mean, sometimes we even have our own communication in those groups. When I'll tell them, hey, let's try another option, they'll be like, oh wow. So I think, and sometimes our team goes, oh, that's the client group you wrote in. And I'm going, that's okay, let them know that we are having arguments here, we're debating something, right? It's okay, let's be transparent. Because they need to see that. Ultimately they need to see that we are working really hard and there's a reason they need to pay us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes clients are little difficult because they delay approvals. They keep moving the project lines further and further. But you are on your timeline, right? You are desperate to finish the project as soon as possible in time. So how do you manage such clients?
I mean, again, very, very, very hard question. And I don't think there's a silver bullet or magic answer here. But I think you have to accept that there will be those. I think, again, nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, I'm going to make this architect's life difficult. But see, a lot of people build whatever they're building, offices, houses, schools, communities. It's a large investment. There's a lot of money that goes into it. And so they want to get it right. Okay. And it's kind of literally set in stone, right? Cast in concrete or whatever. You can't undo it. At least that's the thinking. It's not like an accounting or some other profession where you can, okay, undo things. Oh, the calculation's wrong, let me redo it. I think once you build it, you're kind of done. So they want to get it right. That's complicated in itself. Then there's also the complication of they're not able to articulate. They have this vision in their head, but they're not able to tell you, or you're not able to extract it from them. So all those things make them beat around the bush. Sometimes you're just trying and trying and trying. Of course, some clients are genuinely constantly evolving with you. They're like, oh my goodness, this is real. Okay, now I have to think about that. My parents are going to be living with me. Oh, and I may have another child. Oh, and then what if my kid grows up? So they start thinking about these things after you're engaged and with them,
Mm.
and then Then the brief constantly evolves, and they're also getting aspirational and thinking about more things. uh, what do you do? Of course, they're building their house, they need to get it right. I think, again, the answer, uh, if they are constantly doing this, I think an honest conversation. I mean, nothing I'm saying is rocket science here, but I think everybody is probably shaking their head saying, yeah. But I think an honest conversation saying, look, I understand you want to get a really nice house, and I'm with you on that, and that's in fact my job. Um, but I please understand that I'm also burning my fees. And is there a way we can either expedite it, or we can figure out a way to compensate the extra time we are spending?
Yeah.
It's peanuts compared to the overall project budget. But it's something we want to do. We want to explore it with you because we really believe that you're doing it for the right reasons. But I think what is a turn off is by saying, okay, that's it, time out, we're not going to do this. And I know young people, I know some young architects who feel that way. um,
Hmm.
Time out, we're not doing you another option, we've burnt our fees, we've given you. What is that going to do? I don't know, because people really want a good building, a good house, a good piece of
Yeah.
architecture.
At the end of the day, it's all about that.
Yeah, and I think if you can communicate to them that it's really putting a lot of burden on you, and it's hurting you, I think you can hope that they would understand that. You can't guarantee that, but I think, now I'll tell you the more philosophical answer, which I don't think a lot of young people would like it. There are projects where you will have that, guys. Come on, I mean, let's not get idealistic and unrealistic. There will be projects, but I'll tell you, I'm old enough to tell you that it all works out. I mean, we have done options that went for days, months, night and day, and just gone into thin air. You know what? I'm old enough to tell you those options are never going anywhere. There's another project. It's almost like some magic happens. Another project where those ideas actually matter. And so we're able to put those
Hmm.
ideas in place. So you really need to think about the big picture. I mean, this is where it gets a
Yeah.
little esoteric, and I know it gets a little, oh, give me a break, stop all this. The truth is, none of what you've done goes for waste.
Hmm.
The next project, the solution you're able to pull that out, and all that hard work you did is now an investment, because this works exactly, and this client is like, wow, that's a beautiful solution. So I mean, it's not recycling ideas. Maybe it is, who cares? But it's our original idea which didn't work in one project, but
Yeah.
guess what, it works amazingly well in another project. So
Hmm.
that is, so basically, ultimately it all balances out. There's somebody who doesn't pay you enough, maybe you get a next project. But as architects, we have to continue building. That's what I keep telling myself and everybody else. You have to take an opportunity and build things. You have to build a reputation, you have to learn from each project. So you
Hmm.
can't turn down work, you can't. Of course, you have to survive. So please don't think I'm not saying you have to get cheated and become,
Yeah, but balance it out.
balance it out and understand there's the big picture.
Hmm.
Understand, somebody you've done 14 options for loves you so much that the relationship is so strong that they give you another project, or they go and tell somebody else. Ultimately, with all the injustice, all the craziness on this planet, there is a magic, there is a justice system, a cosmic justice
Hmm.
that comes into play.
Correct.
And I mean, I know it's silly, but hard work, I know it sounds like an old man saying this, like your parents used to say, it never goes waste. I think
Yeah.
it comes back in one way or the other. It just,
Right.
on that occasion, it feels so hurtful, because the only difference between, I think, us and probably the guy chopping trees or whatever, we do it with a lot of passion. We put our souls into this. We make sacrifices. We don't go to family parties. We don't go to friends' picnics, and we're working, and we put our being into it. We put our energies, our souls, our happiness, our joy, our frustrations into the design, and it hurts. It hurts really bad. It's like a breakup. Sometimes, you know, it hurts so bad, and
Hmm.
you need to swallow that and understand that, of course, it's easier said than done. Uh,
Yeah.
but I can only tell you I've been through that. I've been through a lot of heartbreaks on projects, lot of clients that probably didn't think we were worth it, whatever, you know. But
Okay.
in the end, you just keep going, keep going. It's
That's part
endurance.
of the me. Yeah.
Endurance. It's a marathon, guys. It's not a dash. It's not a 100-meter dash. It's a marathon. Not for the faint-hearted.
All right, and we have 20 more minutes left. I'll open the floor for everyone to ask questions. Guys, we also did a podcast with Diwakar a few months back, exactly on the same lines, client management. You can just, have a quick run through that if you feel that this helps you better. All right, who wants to go first with the questions? You can raise your hands, unmute yourself. Yes, Soumya.
Hi, I'm Saumya Hosmane. Um, yeah, everything Mr. Diwakar said has been a journey for us as well. But for us, with along with the payment, it's the GST that is choking us, and where we would have started the topic along with it, but we end when we try to close it, we try to miss out on the GST which we have already paid up to the government.
Hmm.
Ah, so okay. So the Swami, the question is, how do we handle that? So I mean, this is our accountant. I don't know if this helps you, but so what we do is until we get confirmation of the payment, we don't send the um, tax invoice. We send what's called a pro forma invoice. A lot of clients go, "What the hell is this?" And we go, "That's a
Hmm.
pro forma invoice. It tells you how much you owe us, and because we pay GST advance, we are not gonna. We'll send you this only after you confirm that you're paying us is when we'll give you the real invoice, the tax invoice." So the pro forma invoice luckily um, doesn't compel you to pay your GST. So when the client initiates the payment, that's when we send what is the final invoice, so tax invoice. And so that way we know, again, it's not foolproof, but at least you have some way of monitoring if the payment's been released, and only then your GST kicks in.
Hmm.
Okay. That is one. Okay, thank you so much. And there are clients who says you get a GST input, so they expect us to give back the GST input back to them when we do the final thing. No, there we always keep our fingers crossed when we really mention the word GST to the clients. That has become a situation for us.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, I think it's a reality of any business transaction in this country. I really honestly haven't encountered any of this. Yes, it's a burden, but it's very clear in the proposal. All taxes include, are uh, have an
Excluding GST.
including GST. So the GST
Yeah.
is going to be a separate. So we're very clear. Um, and any client who understands the taxation in India, I think should understand that you're not taking that and running away, um,
Yes,
or it's
yes,
not
yes.
you're not buying a new BMW car or whatever. It is something that is part of the business environment in the country.
Yeah, this happened to me for the first time last month, and the client happened to be a chartered accountant. That was more hitting for me than anybody else because he said that's how the market works. The input has to be minus from the fees of yours and all that. I was not ready for it, so I just kept quiet. I said I'll get back to you after speaking to my auditor. I told him, and I just sent him a letter. This is what you have to finally pay me. He said, "This is what." Sometimes these are unexpected situations we are not ready for.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Soumya.
Thank you,
Um,
Diwakar and Soumya.
Thank you.
Sure, thank
Hope
you.
that helps. Yes. Anyone else wants to go next? Okay. Meanwhile, you guys can decide if anyone wants to unmute and ask the question. I have a lot of question. I can start with that. Okay. So, how to make sure, Adarsh, are you going?
Hi, yes. I would just want to ask one
Please.
question. So, we are also a young practice in Bangalore. So, there's this constant problem we are facing with the clients where we do the schematic drawings in the first stage, Then we ask for the payment, but they ask for us to send the drawings before they make a payment. So this has been from past 2, 3 projects, and after we send the drawings, they just disappear. So how do we kind of deal with this issue?
Oh my God, another existential question. Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm pausing because we've had that too, and I think you can definitely when you say schematic, you mean conceptual. I mean the early concept, right?
Yes, yes. Early concepts on the plans, the floor
You
plans.
haven't brought any consult because schematic, at least in my understanding, is when you brought consultants in. But okay, conceptual plans. I think what I mean, okay, if they are serious about building this thing, depends on what kind of clients. If it's residential or commercial, a lot of times commercial clients are talking to multiple architects and they go with the ones that are uh, they're the most comfortable. At least I would hope that the design is they're comfortable with. I think it's always good to ask. We sometimes do, we say, we are giving you a concept, you're asking us for a concept, are you talking to other architects? And that's okay. I mean, you got to ask it in a way where you're not investigating, but you're trying to be open about it. And so then that'll allow you to understand, because it's not a very comfortable question, but it's okay to ask. I don't think clients are so offended. You can ask them, are you talking to other architects? Are you soliciting concepts from other ones? How does it help you? I don't know, but at least it prepares you that you're one of the 6 or one of the 3 or whatever. And then you can temper your investment of time appropriately, because you have only a 1 in 6 chance to actually get the project. That's usually what happens. Now, I'm not a big fan of. They also do competitions, which is essentially free ideas, right? A lot of times, a lot of young people, talented people like yourself, probably are sitting, night and day and generating solutions, and they take it and give it to their, the architect that they've been working with for years. And there's a bunch of beautiful ideas. I mean, that's why I'm a little bit um, ambivalent about competitions. Everybody's doing them. You don't get paid for them, and then there's a whole bunch of brilliant ideas that it's like free ideas, and you work really hard because you want to put your best foot forward. So the answer is it's a little bit of a gamble, but again, I think ultimately there is no foolproof way to sort of really prevent that. But you can, I think, be what I like is at least knowing that I am not assured of the project, and so I will be. It's a lot less hurtful when you know what you're getting into, as opposed to, oh my God, I did all these beautiful options and suddenly no, the phone's not ringing. Instead of that, I think the only thing you can do is to know the risk, so you can invest your time, appropriately and very well knowing what you're getting into. I think that would be the only answer there. Of course, if you know that there are 6 other architects and the client usually goes with people with 20 years experience and you're yet fresh, let's say, then you can say, you know what, I don't want to participate in this. I'll keep looking. But I think it's important to know, and not everybody will tell you, but most people, if they don't feel there's a reason to not tell you the truth, will tell you the truth. So I think asking and reducing your risk is the best you can do, and making a choice, and you can totally avoid doing that project if you feel it's not worth it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I don't know if that helps, but I think it should help.
Yes, yes.
Some people also don't send the drawings to the client. They invite them to the office and just show them on a projector.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
And then ask for money. I think that might also help. I don't know if it helps others, but it
Yeah.
helps some people.
Yeah, I think those are strategies, and yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, I think that way you can still show that you are talented, show that you put your heart and soul into it, but don't get in. But ultimately, look, I mean, you can only do so much. If somebody's really intent to, uh, you know, not be fair to you, there are other ways. I think we are vulnerable, we are desperate, and we put ourselves out there. So that is bound to happen. But you're right. I mean, the checks and balances. But you can't operate a practice with the assumption that clients will, you know,
Yeah.
you have to
The thing is,
guard
Diwakar,
that. That's
the the problem is when you are so small, right? You are more vulnerable. The time you get big, the time you have the shock absorption capacity, what I call it, things get smoother. They
yeah,
don't, I won't say it gets easy. There are difficult challenges, other kind of challenges, but you get used to it. You know the tactics.
yeah,
But for young
absolutely.
architects, it's really
Yeah,
difficult.
I think you said it really well. I want to just add to that because again, I know the pain. I know the pain. I have actually broken down. I have actually struggled. I've actually like had palpitations and all that. Like thinking of all these things. I've actually not stayed up. Like, how can this happen to me? Like, what did I do wrong? God, are you even there? Like, like so all those things happen. But I'll tell you one thing. Um, you got to build. You have to
Yes.
build. You have to build. You have to build. There'll be good. There'll be bad. You have to keep moving. And again, I will tell you, there is justice. It may not seem immediate. This profession is not um, going to yield you results in a month, in a year, even sometimes. We've been in practice in India for 9 years, which I keep saying we're young practice, but it's actually been 9 years, and we're starting to just see that we're turning the corner, right? We're just starting to feel a lot more assured. We're just starting to feel like we can breathe and we're not on our toes every day. Just starting. I don't want to say this and jinx it, but we're just starting to feel like we can sit back
Breathe
and
now.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's always the fear of where is the next project coming from, what are you doing. I mean, even we are 110 people and we still have those jitters, but I think I can only assure everybody that you just have to stay afloat. Okay, stay afloat. I used to, when I first came back from the States, I used to sit on a high horse, say, I've worked in the US for 21 years. I'm bringing the Mercedes Benz in design here and I want to charge this much. Nobody cares, right? You need to start
Yeah.
from zero and you need to put your head down. We will charge what market rate is, but we will build. You can't turn down the opportunity to build because that is your investment. That is your marketing. That is your, when people see that you've built, even if you've done great things, in the US or, in your grad school or you're very talented, nobody cares. Ultimately, they want to see physical buildings that were built by you to have the confidence to invest 1 crore, 2 crores, 100 crores, 300 crores in you. So you need to build that reputation. And the only way to build that reputation is to build buildings. And to build
Yeah.
buildings, sometimes you have to take risks, but there will be rewards. Not today, not tomorrow, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years. I can sit here and kind of validate that philosophy, I think. So just hang in there, but be sure not to hurt yourself, not really risk your health and your investments. But it's okay to be a little bit vulnerable. Okay, just a little bit vulnerable, all in the interest of building good buildings, which actually are your portfolio, your investment. Remember, you're building a platform, and no, I mean, except a few handful architects, everybody's been in the business for 50. You turn 50 before you actually come to terms with your own design.
Yeah.
So remember, I mean, I consider myself quite knowledgeable and talented, but you know, I just feel like I'm still learning. I just feel like I'm still, building my thought process and my skills and all of that. So it takes a long time as an architect to really come to terms with yourself and your design. So I know we all feel like, oh, I have a solution for that. I'm very talented, maybe, but this profession is a little bit weird. You really need to build enough buildings to really come to terms. And I'm saying that it's like playing the violin. They say you become a good violin player. You may be a prodigy, but to really be one with the violin, you have to be 50 years old. um, and so that's
That's
when
amazing.
That's when the instrument becomes almost an extension of you.
Yeah.
Architecture, I'm really sorry. Look at Zaha Hadid. She didn't do anything and she was 50. Lot of architects, you can look at any, David Chipperfield and, there's a few mavericks, but even they actually haven't done substantially profitable work until they've actually hit their 50s. But that's not bad news. Until then, have fun. It's a little bit of a roller coaster, up and down, but it's adventurous.
Yeah.
And don't be hurt. Don't be hurt. Any chance,
Look at the big picture always.
any chance you get to build, it's a good thing.
Thank you, sir. That's helpful, actually.
Yeah, don't leave an opportunity to build, I would say, because that is your best tool or best weapon for the next project. I mean, I take a chance to build anything, furniture, a logo, a high rise, a low rise, a house. We never say no, just do it. You learn and you gain a reputation and the results will come.
All right, we have time for just one more question now. It's already 4:57, Diwakar. Guys, anyone wants to go next? Okay. All right then. No one? Yes, Abhinaya.
Hi, sir. I'm Abhinaya from Madurai. I'm a practicing architect here.
Hi,
Sir,
Abhinaya.
actually, what is the right time, actually, a right stage to get an initial payment, the first payment, maybe?
Good question. I think you can't get your initial payment on the day one of the conversation. I think usually you start the conversation. We usually get sometimes it's a phone call, sometimes it's an email, sometimes it's somebody else calls us and says, hey, I have a friend who wants to build an office building or whatever. So we talk to them. We sometimes even do the visioning session, which I was talking about, where we try to fully understand, and we still haven't sent them a proposal. We obviously go to the site. We always say we should go to the site. So that's all investment. But when we start actually putting teams and people together, that is the right time. When you know that you're investing, I mean, you've already invested some time, but that's really the basic sort of understanding the lay of the land. But when you start putting teams, or when you're putting actually pen on paper and doing sketches or whatever, I think you need to understand that you need to, get paid. Now, the payment is obviously both for you to be able to do the work. It's an advance payment, but it's a way for you to actually invest the time. So it's not like you're getting free money, right? But you can't invest too much and then figure out that it's a wasted effort. So the initial payment is something that needs to happen as soon as it can. It can't happen on day one, but it can't happen after you've done 10 options. That's again, as Soumya would say, it's a red flag, right? So if they're going to pay you, they might as well pay you once they're confident about you, once you're confident about them. And I think it's like clear communication. Are you comfortable with my skills? Are you comfortable with my personality? Are you comfortable with going this journey for a year or two with me? Okay, then let's please solidify this relationship with an agreement and a payment. So yeah, I mean, the sooner the better, but of course don't you have to sometimes get to the point where they're comfortable. But you have to guard yourself from doing too many things, investing too much of your soul into it, because that can also hurt, right? So you have to have a little bit of, I think at this point, I can tell you this. I wish I knew this when I was younger, and I don't know if there's a way, but you need to have a little bit of like, okay, what if it doesn't happen? Okay, this is because when you really invest your emotions and you're so excited, and when it doesn't happen, it breaks your heart, of course, and hurts your wallet. So you need to be prepared, but be aware. I think to be aware and know that there is an opportunity, that there's a chance it may go this way or that way, and then of course position it. And communication, clear communication is important.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay, all right. I think we are right on time, Diwakar. So thank you so much for joining in, and I'll hand over to Riti to wrap the session up. In
Oh,
case you don't have anything to add on, Diwakar.
not really. I mean, I do want to say a couple of things in parting. I think it's really it's a great session. I think the questions you're asking are absolutely uh, important. I mean, there are, I may not feel the intensity of those questions now, but there are years where these, I wish somebody, like, I was looking for these answers, right? I wish all, like, and to be honest, I sometimes feel like I didn't get all the answers. I wish maybe I should have talked to more people, or maybe architects should talk to each other a lot more, because I wish somebody put their arm around my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, it'll be fine." Okay, because nobody said that. And I was always like, okay, I opened an office, I put a desk, I sat down, and I have a laptop. Now what? Like, now what? Like, what's going to happen next? That's it, I think if somebody really sat me down and said, look, just don't go mental, right? Don't, just keep doing good work. It will, and I'm doing that. I'm actually telling you guys that. Do good work. Okay, yes, there will be ups and downs. Sometimes it'll feel like the end of the world. Sometimes you'll get really hurt. Sometimes you'll do a lot and not get what you expect. But the only thing I can assure you, and I'm getting a little scared when I say that, is, but there is a caveat. You do it from your heart, you do it with the right intentions. When people go, like, they win a Wimbledon, they go and say, thank you, mama, thank you for all the hard work, my coach, I put a lot of hard work, and hard work pays. They're not bullshitting, it's actually true, right? Funnily enough, the world, there's a justice in the cosmos. I think you work hard, you put your heart in it, do it for the right intentions, things will fall into place. Again, it sounds very, very esoteric and very like mumbo bumbo, but that's all I have to offer. I think the confidence that if you guys um, align yourself and do all the right things, there's only one way, and it's up. Uh, it's like, I always say, it's like making biryani, right? You put all the right ingredients and you close the lid and you walk away for X, like they say, whatever, half an hour or whatever. It has to only go one way, which is it has to be good, because you've done everything right. You put all the ingredients. There's no way it would go wrong. If it went wrong, it means something was missing, or you opened the lid too early, or you didn't cook it long enough, or you overcooked it, or you didn't put enough garlic in it, or whatever. So you put everything, and trust me, the results will be there. Okay, you should be trusting of that. That I know it when you're young and you're in it, you have a lot of doubt, but keep doing it. Protect yourself, keep your sanity, keep your health, but have faith. Good things are around the corner.
So many lessons here.
Yeah.
All right, Riti, the stage is yours.
That was so insightful, and I feel like that's so much to learn from. So people from different industry and what they are doing. I guess these practices always work in multiple industry, not only as architect, but every business should learn about all these things. And thank you so much, Diwakar, for keeping us so practical and real. And big thank you to Soumya for leading this discussion and making sure every angle was covered. And of course, thank you to all the participants who joined us today. But the real conversation don't end here. You can continue at Inside Community, where you will get all the updates. The link is there in the group chat. Also, you can connect with Diwakar. If you still have any questions on LinkedIn, we have shared her LinkedIn ID as well. You can connect with her, ask the questions. He'll be there for you. And that's a wrap for today's session. Thank you so much, Diwakar. Thank you so much, Soumya, for joining in. All right, guys, have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.